Hi and welcome to Topic Busters from onmaths. Today we're looking at ratios. If you enjoy this video, please share it. Enjoy! Hi and welcome to Topic Busters from onmaths. So today we're looking at ratios. Hopefully I'm going to make this a little bit easier because there's loads of different types of questions and we're just going to go through each type one by one so we can just tick them off. Now this is going to be more important to learn than ever because on the foundation paper this makes up a quarter of each paper and on the higher just slightly less than that. What makes up a quarter is ratio and proportion, but all the proportion questions seem to be grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, and so they use the ratio questions to do the lower marks. So if we're looking at grades 4, 5, they're probably going to come up quite a lot. So it's going to be really important that we completely understand ratios, and you've probably noticed already with the mocks that ratios have come up a lot. So, no more me talking, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start off simplifying ratios. So we've got 6 to 8, so I always copy that down, 6 to 8. And I've got to figure out what I can do to both sides to simplify it. Well, I can divide them both by 2, and that will give me 3 to 4. Now 3 and 4, well there's nothing else I can do to both of them, so that's my simplified answer. Okay, next one is 100 to 120 to 180. So it's a 3-part one. I'm going to do this with arrows, it'll probably be easier. So what can I do with each of those? Well, the first most obvious thing is I can divide them all by 10. Okay, so I'll have 10 to 12 to 18, and then I can also halve them all. So we have 5 to 6 to 9. There's nothing more I can do with 5, 6 and 9. Now the rules with ratios are the same as the rules with fractions. You can't have a decimal or a fraction within a ratio. So we've got 7 to 3/5, which breaks the rule. So what I'm going to have to do is get rid of that fraction. So that fraction is 3 over 5, or 3 divided by 5. So to get rid of that, I can just times both sides by 5. 7 times 5 is 35, and 3/5 times 5 is just 3. Now I can't cancel that down anymore, because 35 and 3, well 3 doesn't go into 35, so that's my simplified answer. Okay, have a go. Okay, so the first one, 10 to 15, can divide those both by 5, and you get 2 to 3. Next one, 120 to 200 to 660. Now what we can do is we can first of all divide by 10. So I get 12 to 20 to 16. Then I could divide them all by 2, but I noticed that I can divide them all by 4, which would be quicker. If I divide them by 2, I can then divide them by 2 again. So we get 3 to 5 to 4. Now I could have divided them straight away by 40, but you know, it doesn't matter, it just takes longer to divide by 10 than divide by 4. Okay, so for the last one, 6 to 2/3. So to get rid of that fraction I need to times them by 3. So I'll get 18 to 2. Now what you might notice is we can go a step further here and we can cancel that down, halving both of those. So that's 9 to 1. Okay, so let's step up these ratio questions. So we're told that the ratio of red to blue is 5 to 4, imagining counters in a bag or whatever. So we're asked what the fraction of the red are. So there are 9 parts altogether, because there's 5 red to every 4 blue, and there are 5 reds. So it's the amount of reds, which is 5, over the total amount of parts, which is 9. So 5 ninths are red and 4 ninths will be blue. Now it says if there are 15 red, how many blue? So the ratio is 5 to 4, and that's red and that's blue. And we're told that there's 15 red, so we know there's going to be 15 red. And so I just work out what I need to times 5 by to get to 15, which is 3. If I times the blues by that, I get 12. So there are 12 blue. And I normally just check that. There's more red than blue, and if there's 15 red, we'd expect around 12 blue, so that makes sense. Okay, this last one's quite tricky. It says the ratio of blue to green. Now we've not heard about this green before, but all we know is that the ratio of blue to green is 12 to 13, and find the ratio of red to green. So red to blue, we've already got in the questions 5 to 4, but we need to work out, well, we've got blue to green, so blue to green I'm going to put below, which is 12 to 13. So I need to work out what I need to convert the 4 in the blue to get to 12. So if I times it by 3, that will get that 4 to 12. If I do the same with the red, 5 times 3, I get 15. So the ratio of red to green is 15 to 13. Let's check if I can simplify that. Well, 13 is a prime number, so that's not going to simplify. And that's our answer. Okay, have a go. Okay, so for this first one, fraction of red, well, we've got 4 reds and there are 7 parts altogether. So the fraction of reds could be 4 over 7. Now, I'm going to write down the ratio. So we've got 4 reds to every 3 blues. And so what do I have to do to 4 to get to 16? Well, I times it by 4. 4 times 4 is 16, which is good. And 3 times 4 is 12. So there are going to be 12 blue. Okay, that's the last one. So the ratio of red to blue is 4 to 3. The ratio of blue to green is 9 to 10. So what do I have to do to 9 to get 3 to get to 9? I need to times by 3. So I'm going to times that red by 3 as well. So I get 12. So my answer is 12 to 10. But I can actually cancel that down. I can halve both of those. So I get 6 to 5. And that's my simplified answer. Okay, so this time we're asked to share an amount of money in a given ratio. So the first step, so step 1, is add the parts together. So in the first question we've got 2 parts on the left hand side, 1 part on the right hand side. So just add those together. Find out how many parts we have altogether. So we've got 3 parts. Step 2 is find out how much each of those parts are worth. So we get our £300. We divide it by 3 because there's 3 parts. So each part is worth £100. And then step 3 is just times each side of the ratio by that amount. So I'm going to do 2 times 100, which is £200, and 1 times 100, which is obviously just £100. So on the left hand side we've got £200, and on the right hand side we've got £100. A kind of step 4 is just make sure you check your answer. If we've got £300, then we should have £300 at the end. Well, 200 plus 100 is £300, so we know we're right. Okay, so the next question, 360 in the ratio of 5 to 4. So step 1 is add the 5 and the 4, and find out that we've got 9 parts. So each part is going to be worth 360 divided by 9, and that's 1 part. 36 divided by 9 is going to be 4, and so therefore 360 divided by 9 is going to be 40. So each part is worth 40, and then I'm going to do 5 times 40. 5 times 4 is 20, so that's going to be 200, and I'm going to do 4 times 40. 4 times 4 is 16, so that's going to be 160. So my answer is going to be £200 to £160. Add them together, 200 plus 160 is going to be 360, so we know we're probably right. Now sometimes you're asked just for the left hand side or just for the right hand side, and that's absolutely fine. So if I was asked just for the left hand side, I would just write down £200. Okay, last one. So I'm going to add all of the sides together to find out how many parts I have. That's going to be 10 parts. Then I'm going to find out how much 1 part is worth. So I'm going to do 130 divided by 10, which is 13. So each part's worth £13. Then I'm going to do 5 times 13. I know 10 times 5 is 50, 12 times 5 is 60, so that's going to be 65. Then 3 times 13, which is going to be 39. And 2 times 13, which is going to be 26. And so our answer is going to be £65, £39, and £26. Okay, have a go. Okay, so we're going to start by adding the parts together. So 1 plus 4 is 5. We're going to find out what 1 part is worth. So we're going to do 500 divided by 5, which is 100. And we're going to times both sides by that amount. So 1 times 100 and 4 times 100. So that's going to be £100 on the left hand side and £400 on the right hand side. 100 plus 400 is 500, so that works. Right, next one, we're going to add the 2 sides together, find out how many parts we've got. So we've got 7 parts. I'm going to do 210 divided by 7, or 21 divided by 7 is 3, so that's going to be 30. Then I'm going to do 4 times 30 and 3 times 30. So 4 times 3 is 12, so that's going to be 120. 3 times 3 is 9, so that's going to be 90. So add them together, and that makes 210. Let's just put the pounds in, which I haven't put in. Okay, let's tidy that up. Might put the dots over there. Okay, last one. So we're going to add the parts together. So we're going to do 2 plus 1 plus 5, which is going to be 8. And then we're going to do 400 divided by 8 to find out how much each of those parts are worth. I know 40 divided by 8 is 5, so that's going to be 50. Then I'm going to do 2 times 50, which is 100. I'm going to do 1 times 50, which is 50. And 5 times 50, well 5 times 5 is 25, so that's going to be 250. So it's going to be £100 to £50 to £250. Let's add them up, 300, 400, that works. Okay, so we've got quite a tricky question here. It involves Anne, Bill and Chris sharing money in the ratio of 2 to 3 to 1. All we're given is the fact that Bill gets £100 more than Chris. Now, these are not terribly imaginative names. Generally, you won't get names with the same letter, because in your working out, you're encouraged just to label the names by letter, so A, B, C. Generally, they don't do that anymore. They just go for Francesca and David, so they make sure they're different letters. Anyway, We need to work out how much each part is worth. Now, you're never going to be asked this as a question. The question will be the yellow and the green box, but this helps us understand how to get there. So, we look at how many parts Bill has, which is 3, and we look at how many parts Chris has, which is 1. So we need to work out how many more parts Bill has than Chris. So we just do 3 take away 1, which is 2. So Bill has 2 more parts than Chris. Now we know that he gets £100. So to work out what one part is worth, we get that £100, we divide it by the amount of parts that it's worth, which is going to be 50. So each part is worth £50. So Chris will get £50, Bill will get 150, which is 3 times 50. So that is 100 more, so we know we're probably right. So this is the next question. How much does Bill get? So we just do 3 times 50, which is £150. Now we've got Bill's and we've got Chris's, because Chris had 50, and we've got to work out and do the last question. So we know that Chris has 50, Bill we've just worked out as 150. Now to work out and, we need to do 2 times 50, which is 100. So 50 plus 150 plus 100 is going to be £300. That's how much they have altogether. Okay, have a go. So same question as before, this time the ratio and amount are slightly different. So Bill gets 5 and Chris gets 2, so there's a difference of 3. So that £21 is worth 3 parts. So if I divide it by 3, I get 1 part. So each part is worth £7. Okay, how much does Bill get? Bill gets 5 times that, because he's got 5 parts. So that's going to be £35. Now, how much money do they share? Well, there's a different way of doing this. Instead of working out Anne and Chris's share, all I can do is I can just work out how many parts there are in total, which is 10. Now we've already established each part is worth £7, so I can just do 7 times 10. It gets there easier. Now if you did it the other way, you work out that Anne had 21, that Bill we worked out had 35, and that Chris had 14, and they would also add to £70. Okay, so we now have some quite harder questions on ratio. So the first one asks us what type of triangle has the ratio 1 to 1 to 4. Now straight away I notice that 2 of those angles are going to be the same. Each side of that ratio is an angle. But what I can do is work out exactly what the angles are going to be. So business as usual, 1 plus 1 plus 4. Add the parts together and that gives us 6. Then we'll do 180 divided by 6. Which is 18 divided by 6 is 3, so that's going to be 30. So each one of those is going to be, each one part is going to be 30. So the degree is going to be 30 degrees to 30 degrees. And then 3 times 4 is 12, so that's going to be 120 degrees. Add them together and that adds up to 180. So straight away I know that it's going to be an isosceles triangle because it's got 2 angles the same. So isosceles. Okay, next question says there's a scale of 1 to 200 and what is 13 centimeters in real life? So this is going to be a map or a building something or a design that's like a model car or something like that. So the scale is going to be 1 to 200. So it means that for every 1, it's going to be 200 in real life. So I just need to times whatever I have in my drawing by, not by 100, by 200. So we've got 13 here. We've just got to times it by 200, and an easy way of doing that is times it by 2 to give us 26, and then times by 100 to give us 2,600 centimeters. Now normally it will say it wants it in meters, so we need to understand that that's going to be 26 meters because there's 100 meters, it's 100 centimeters in a meter. Okay, the last one. A is double B and 4 times bigger than C. Write this as a ratio. So we've got A, B, and C. Let's put our dots in. Okay, so always go for the smaller one first. So C seems to be the smallest one. So I'm going to put C as 1. Now it says that A is double B and 4 times bigger than C. So A is double B. That means that B is going to be twice as big as C. And A is going to be 4 times bigger than C. And having a look at it now, A is double B. And so that works perfectly. So the ratio is 4 to 2 to 1. Okay, have a go. Okay, so this first one's not immediately obvious. It's definitely not an isosceles or an equilateral triangle. Could be a scalene, but chances are if they're asking this question, it's probably a special type of triangle. So let's go through what we did before. So I'm going to add the parts together. And so we've got 6 parts. Then I know that the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I'm going to divide that by 6. And that's 30 degrees. So 1 times 30 is 30. 2 times 30 is 60. And 3 times 30 is 90 degrees. So my answer is going to be that it is a right angled triangle. There we go. Okay, next one. I know I've got to times 1 by 300 to get to 300. So I'm going to do 12 times 300. As I said before, it's easier to times by 3, which is 36. And add the zeros, and that's centimeters. But again, the question will probably ask for meters, so 36 meters. Okay, so we've got on the last one, slightly harder question. A is half of B, so A is not as big as B, but it's still 3 times bigger than C. So C is going to be our 1. And it says A is half of B and 3 times bigger than C, so it's 3 times bigger than C. And it says that it is half of B. So for it to be half of B, we need to put B as 6. And let's just check that. Is A 3 times bigger than C? Yes. Is A half of B? Yes. Can I simplify? No. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hopefully you understand all the bits of ratios when you're given the whole and when you're given one part and you're given a difference between the two and you're given some obscure question that seems to slightly be related to ratios. Hopefully you're feeling a lot more confident. If you want to see all our other videos, if you go onto onmaths.com and look down the right hand side, all of our other topic buster videos are there unless I move them, but if I do move them, I'll make sure that they're identifiable. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the others. Thank you very much.